YouTube.
I usually get the notification on my phone since I follow the channel.
Yeah. Did you?
No, but give it a second. Let me try to just go to YouTube through my phone.
Okay.
Oh, yep, it was the first thing when I opened YouTube.
Dope. Yeah, let me pull it up on my phone. Oh yeah, here I just got the notification too.
Oh,
Sick. All right, we are live.
Onigashima.
All right, I'm rolling the intro. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Live at Onigashima, I'm Anthony.
And I'm Jimmy. And today we got another One Piece live episode. We've missed a few chapters, so we're just going to talk about our thoughts about all of them.
Yeah.
The end of God Valley, kind of what's happening in the world after God Valley, and then back to Elbath finally.
There's a lot
And
a lot of stuff.
yeah, I mean, I was looking it up the other day. This is now officially the longest flashback we've had because it's longer than the Odin
Really?
flashback.
That's great.
Which,
It's
yeah,
been like 6 months, right?
yeah, I think since like June or July was the last time we saw any of the Straw Hats.
Oh my god.
So
Dude,
we had the longest break between seeing Luffy in the main story during the Odin flashback. Now we have an even longer one now. So yeah, pretty crazy.
Insane. Well, like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. If you like these live streams, like, let us know. This is a little fun thing to do. It lives up to our name, live at Onigashima, you know. So
we're actually live.
We're actually live, yeah. So here we go. So let's jump in. There's been a lot of developments, a lot of talks. You see the name of the stream, Shanks is a rat. We won't get into that just yet. I want to go.
We just know the accusations are true.
The accusations are yeah, just know they're all true. Everything's true that you're hearing. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you want us to just start at chapter 1166? That's kind of where we left off. So it's like right after Roger and
right
Garp
after
kind of
Roger
like
and Garp beat him.
Yeah, beat Rocks, down University Rocks, and so you know, they get away, and or I guess they're just laying there, and he's laying there too. And then
I like how Gabon was the one that rescued Garp, not like one of the other Marines or anything. Like, it just goes to show, like, the Roger crew, they're them. The Marines, they're not them.
It's true, dude. I saw so many things being like, "Oh, Bogart's coming."
I saw that too. Like, I mean, I guess I get it. Like, oh yeah, give that guy a chance to do something.
Like, bro, Bogart.
I don't even think he's ever been named in the manga.
Has he not?
Like, I think it's like, I don't know. I think it was just from an SBS.
That's crazy, bro. Because he has.
For all of you who don't know who Bogart is,
well,
I was gonna say, for all of you who don't know, Bogart is supposed to be Garp's second, like his right hand man, right? But
he's like the guy with
again,
the hat. He looks like a spy, right? Like, he's always, his eyes are always covered. He's got like a cape and everything. Yeah.
So he's a fraud too. But...
I don't know if he's a fraud, bro. He's like not even in the story.
Yeah,
but
that's true. He can't be a fraud if he has no expectation.
Well, people do expect, dude. I literally saw people being like, "Oh my god, this is Bogart's time. He could save Garp right here." But nah, Scaban and Rayleigh come and swoop in and grab them. You know, they're on absolute zero. They got totally exhausted. Rayleigh grabbed the straw hat, which I thought was a cute little addition.
Of course, they're not leaving the straw hat.
I know.
I mean, that just makes me think, like, if Rayleigh thinks, I mean, maybe he thinks it's important. Like, clearly it's just like one of Roger's treasures. But I wonder how, like, Roger got it. Like, what's the significance of it? How did he find out it was important? Well, yeah. I guess that's for a later date. There's nothing we're gonna find out here.
Well, that is interesting that you bring that up, because I didn't even think about that, because like how does Roger's crew think of the Straw Hat in relation to Roger versus like Luffy, right? Because like I feel like people know on Luffy's crew, at least the OG5, that were like, you know, around when.
I mean, he named his whole crew around it. He's Straw Hat Luffy. I think even the other 5 know.
Yeah.
I think people not in the crew know.
It's true. Yeah, but you know, so Roger's crew, it's like they band together before he had the Straw Hat. I mean, he didn't have the Straw Hat earlier in the flashback, right? Or did he have it the whole time?
No, he had it the whole time.
Okay.
He gets rid of it when he gives it to Shanks.
Right. Yeah. That's true. So I don't know what they feel
Speaking
like
of,
the
we saw Shanks
significance.
here, and unfortunately, no mustache scaling like we mentioned in one of our
I
other
thought about that
videos.
too, dude. No mustache scaling.
So Roger does not have a mustache here. The picture we were talking about before was actually fan made. It was just
Yeah.
like, oh, to do like a concept art kind of thing that wasn't like a full drawing, and people
Right.
kind of like filled in the blanks
Yeah, it
when
was
we
just like
all knew he had a
scribbles.
mustache. So no mustache
No
scaling.
mustache
The
scaling. Yeah,
mustache
he's
does not equal peak Roger, although
no.
that probably is closer to his peak. Is a little bit after this,
It's probably after
but
this. Yeah, I wouldn't say that this is Roger and Garp's peak like at all. Like I think that definitely he was stronger when he clashed with Whitebeard later, during the Odin flashback, because I mean he just had more figured out at that point. Like maybe he was like a little sick or whatever, but like this is when they started calling Whitebeard like the world's strongest man and stuff. I don't know if actually that happened before Roger died or not, like when he got that title. But
I don't know. I feel like it's probably after, right? Because people would have just called Roger the world's strongest.
it's true.
Like I'm pretty sure he got that after he died.
It's true. Well, I want to go back real quick to so Rock's supposedly he dies here. I'm gonna say he dies here.
He definitely dies here.
he,
Anyone who thinks he doesn't die is trolling themselves.
well, okay. I'll say this. I'll troll for a second. I'll say this is that like he did get kind of off-screen death, and like you could say in a little theory craft here that like maybe Garling like did something with Emu's power to like make him forever Emu's slave after this, so that he's like immortal or something. Like he did get Dami reversied. So and then also there's all that stuff about there's a lot of people have said over the years that like, or especially since this flashback, that like the whole Blackbeard having two personalities thing, or three personalities even, because he's associated with like threes, um that Rox might be like literally inside of him or something, or that he like has Rox's fruit or like his inherited will or something. And so like how would that be possible if Rox is just like dead here? But it does look like Rox is like dead. And I will say on top of that, which is another interesting point, is that like Rox did not have a smile on his face when he died, like a lot of the other D-Clan members and just other people that have died, you know, in ways that they wanted to die. Like Rox definitely he got done dirty. You know what I mean? Like he
Yeah, I think that's one of the interesting things is like not having the smell, even though we know for sure he's a D. And
yeah.
even then, we've seen people without the official D in their name, like Odin, for instance, die with that like iconic smile
And
on their
Yasui,
face.
you know, like there's a bunch
And
of them.
yeah, and I think you're right. I think it has to do with like accomplishing your dreams, right? And we can clearly see like Rox didn't do what he wanted. He got taken over.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a sad death for this guy because he's not really that bad of a guy overall. Like
No, he was
we
good.
kind of at the beginning of the flashback before we knew him, people were like, "Oh my God, he's Blackbeard's father. He's gonna be evil." But then people also knew it's like, "Oh, but maybe not because the world government lies." And then we find out he's really not that bad. Like
He's a good guy,
I
dude.
don't
Like
know what I don't. Well, I don't know about good guy, but
he's a
I
nice
think
guy.
he's like more Luffy-esque, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Luffy's not necessarily like a hero. Like he doesn't like being called a hero, quote unquote. But like he's not going out of his way to like cause like harm to a bunch of people.
It's true.
His crew was, but he wasn't.
Yeah, it's true. You think Zoro's going out of his way to cause harm?
Not out of his way,
Nah.
but he doesn't care if he
Yeah,
does.
it's true. Well, that's also interesting because it's like there's like the inherited will of Rox too, right? Because I feel like Rox, even though he didn't die with a smile on his face or anything, like you still have the inherited will factor, and there's like two big characters that like inherit his will, and I think that's like Loki and Blackbeard, right? Blackbeard clearly, I think, because he like named his ship like the Saber of Zebek and everything, and I feel like he's gonna have a little bit more. He has his mom still, so it's like he can be told the stories of Rox and like how he went and all that, and then maybe form his own opinion about like how to inherit the will. And then separately, like we see Loki here crying over Rox's death and being like, "Oh my God, like you were so great. Like I wish, you know." He's like real bent out of shape about it, you know. And I feel like this is like a very formative part of his character.
I mean, one of the other things also, just speaking of Blackbeard and his mom, like being able to tell him the stories, I think that's kind of be what we're gonna see next from Blackbeard's flashback, like way down the line, is what ends up happening to his mom, and I have a feeling it's going to be similar to like the Ace stuff, where he just gets hunted down, right?
Yeah.
Except we don't really have like as much of like a support system to know about that. Like, there's no one there protecting Blackbeard's mom,
No.
and nobody that knows to protect her either. Versus, like, I feel like with Roger, he kind of knew what was gonna happen,
Mm-hmm.
so he found a secluded place. Like, Rouge was on board with protecting him from the first place.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's just gonna like she's
Well,
gonna die, and that's how Blackbeard gets away, and then finds Whitebeard later.
right. Well, that's the thing. I think Whitebeard is that person for Blackbeard, and he like thinks he's like, oh, I'm gonna take Blackbeard under my wing. This is Rox's son. Like he knew that shit, you know. I think, but he's like Whitebeard is like the Garp of the situation, where like Roger went to Garp and was like, hey, you know, we're enemies, but we're really buddies. Like, take care of my kid. And Rox didn't like go to Whitebeard, obviously, but like they were homies, right? Like throughout their
Which
entire.
crazy then that Blackbeard ends up killing Whitebeard after all of that.
That's like the dichotomy, right? It's like the Blackbeard. I think all of this also makes like the Blackbeard versus Ace fight like way better, like the Crossroads of Fate kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's just interesting how like different paths they both end up taking, and they were both on the same crew too. You know, if you think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Oda's great at storytelling. He's just mixing all these characters together.
Yeah, well, what can we say?
I mean, one of the other things I want to talk about too was just like Garp's reaction. Speaking of like how he reacts to like his family and stuff, like a lot of people, us included, at the beginning of the Flash was like, Garp's a fraud. He's coming here helping us Celestial Dragons. But by the end of it, we obviously knew like he didn't know any of this shit. Like he was kind of just like naive. He didn't really know about like the God's Knights or anything.
Yeah.
And even if he definitely didn't know how evil they were. Like they hide it pretty well.
Yeah.
And you can see he even kind of regrets it to the point where not that he's leaving the Marines because he's like, well, I can't really do anything from the outside either. He was trying to make changes within, and you see Sengoku kind of like talking that reason into him. It's like, what do you think is going to happen from the outside? Then you're just going to get targeted as like even harder. At least try to like do more here.
Yeah. Well, there's the opposite side of the reason too, though. It's because later in that chapter, there's actually the reaction between what he comes to the conclusion of is like, okay, Sengoku talks some sense into me, quote unquote. Like, I'm gonna stick with the Marines, and like this still is the best way to go. Whatever changed from inside or whatever. Like, who's gonna protect these people? And Dragon is like, nah. Like, clearly these, you know, the Marines are not protecting people. Like, even if you stay on the inside, like this is a fucked up system. And Garp is just like, you don't get it, man. Like, I'm not gonna talk to you about this. Like, you have your thoughts about it. I have my thoughts about it. Here's your key. You go do what you want to do. And so like Garp's accepting Dragon's viewpoint in the sense of like, okay, you know, I believe that you deserve freedom and you deserve to like pursue this in your own way, but at the same time he doesn't like agree with Dragon. And like he completely, after this, we never like Garp never like goes after Dragon or anything, you know, like Dragon's the most wanted man on the sea.
Like, we actually later in the story, like the first time we meet Garp, one of the things he says is to Luffy is like, "Oh, I ran into your father."
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah, true.
So they definitely still talk to each other. Okay. Like they're not on bad terms with each other. Like Garp understands Dragon's like point of view.
Well, I wonder what ran to your father means, because that could have meant like, you know, maybe he was deployed against Dragon at some point.
I mean, maybe, but they would. I felt like they. I don't know. The way it was phrased felt like they had like a conversation.
Could be.
But you know how conversations with Garp go. He ends up hitting people. Right. So who knows?
Yeah, I mean they're all hard-headed. You know, like Luffy and Garp fought. Like Luffy was like, "I want to be free. I want to be a pirate," and Garp's like, "You got to be a Marine," and he's like, "No." You know, like I don't think that's gonna be that much different with Dragon. I think Dragon is like definitely more reasonable, like level-headed than Luffy. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just like an interesting dichotomy between them. Like it's I want to see how it goes forward and see how the monkey family like continues to like evolve. I think Garp is a more complex character. We always knew that he's like a more complex character in general, and even if we don't agree one way or the other, like anybody's like, okay, this is why Garp's a good guy, this is why Dragon's a good guy, this is why Luffy's the good guy, blah blah blah. They're all like the good guy in their own sense, but
I mean, it's one of those things where I think they're all like good people, but they're weighing different things, right. And like I think Luffy in general,
too, you know.
Yeah, exactly. I think Luffy in general since he's a lot younger and he hasn't seen as many of the horrors, and he's never really been like knocked on his ass like that badly before, except I guess the
I mean,
Ace
I don't
thing.
know, bro. He died against Kaido.
Well, I meant like more from like a moral standpoint. Like his like
Yeah,
morals
yeah.
haven't been
The
like
Ace thing
questioned
was
that
like
much.
the one.
It's just like fight people and it always works out for me. Like he hasn't really had like a chance where it's like by me fighting, it hasn't made things worse. It's only ever made things better.
Except for
And
the
that
Ace thing.
like can have well, not even if he didn't do anything there, like
Ace died
then Ace
anyways,
would have
though.
been yeah. Well, that's not saying like him fighting was the cause of that though. If Luffy wasn't there, Ace would have died anyways. I think it's like kind of my
It's
point.
true, but like I think
Like
that the point I'm making is like Luffy went and then saw that no matter whether he would have gone or not, Ace would have died.
well, yes, but my point is like I feel like there's something in Dragon and Garp's life where it kind of challenges like their like morals about everything. Like Luffy hasn't had a moment where it's like, okay, since I did this like rash decision, well now some part of my crew is lost or somebody I care about is lost. Versus like Garp, where it's like, okay, if I go and save Ace here, well maybe that hurts like Kobe and all these other people that I care about in the Marines also, and all these like I don't think Luffy's had to make that decision yet. It's always like very simple for him.
Yeah.
So
No, I agree. Yeah, that's true. Um, yeah, I mean, it's just cool. Like, I want to see more. I think Dragon was one of the more interesting parts of this flashback, even though he's a very small part of it. I like seeing these like little, like my favorite parts about One Piece, especially in the flashback. Like everybody's super focused on like the fights and the scaling and like, oh my god, all this crazy shit's happening. This is peak. But I think the core of One Piece always has been to me like all the character interactions, and like you have to focus on like the big main characters, especially these guys who are like directly related to the main character.
yeah.
So
Speaking of big characters, you know who else is a big character that shit?
good transition, bro.
Gotcha. We got Harold ripping out his horns, and well, I guess more than that because we knew that was gonna happen. But kind of like that's what made Emu see. It's like okay, this guy's easily manipulated.
Yeah.
I think this is actually Harold's biggest mistake that he made because it showed how much he was willing to bow down to the world government, and we see later how much Emu abuses that. It's like okay, your obedience, your desperation to try to make Elbaf seem peaceful to everybody is what we're gonna take advantage of. And
I
it
mean, he
feels like that's
literally
kind
says
of
like, even if it means becoming a slave to atone for our sins, it's like, dude,
yeah,
come on.
which he does.
Yeah.
He became a slave. He didn't know the ramifications of his words at the time, but like that's literally what ends up happening.
Yeah, dude. I think like he very much resembles Odin in that way. Like he's kind of naive in what he believes that the world government will do for him. Same way that Odin was like naive in kind of believing that Orochi and Kaido are gonna like just go away if he just like dances naked in the town square. It's kind of like the same thing, you know what I mean? Like he's going around just working for the world government for a while, rising through the ranks. And so I guess we can get more into that going to the next chapter, 1167, where he's just like terrorizing the world now. I mean, like for the world government's sake. It starts off with like the Florian Triangle stuff, right? Like, which I thought that was really cool. I really like the Florian Triangle.
I loved that callback because it gave that Florian Triangle like the reason for why ships were disappearing that we never got, which before was just like haha Bermuda Triangle like relationship to the real world, right? But now there's like an in-world explanation for it, and it doesn't fully like talk about the like the end of the Thriller Bark arc where we see those like giant weird things.
Yeah, like there's still more going on there for sure.
Part of me wants to believe that those are just giants that were like shaped really weird so that we couldn't figure out what they were.
Maybe, but it happens. But that happens because we see that, right? Like in Luffy's time, and Harold's gone by then for sure. And this is like Harold alone doing this shit.
Yeah.
So it could be something. It could be giants. It could maybe be like the what is it, the Galley Law or whatever, but they were frozen like 200 years ago or some shit, so like probably
they're still frozen. Punk Hazard, we did see that.
Yeah, so I don't know.
I feel like with Harold just like going around kind of like, I mean, he's quote unquote thinks he's like doing good, right? Because he's destroying pirates and destroying what the world government tells him is bad. But how many of these people that he killed were like actually good people that the world government just said were bad? Like, what if there's like an O'Hara type research ship that the world government was like, oh, they're smuggling whatever, kill them for us, and then he just like blindly like chases them down. Like he was literally just like their mercenary.
Well,
and like
so one of the things is like I wonder. It says like later here that meanwhile all the Rocks pirates like Kaido, Whitebeard, Big Mom, Shiki, etc. are like claiming territory, doing having their own rise to power, etc. It doesn't seem we probably would have seen it here, or maybe they just wanted to skip over it and maybe we'll see some more later. I doubt it, but like, did Harold ever interact with like the biggest baddest pirates, or was he just like whacking ships that were like fodder in the Grand Line?
I don't know. It seemed like he was just fodder control.
Yeah,
like maybe he clashed with them a few times, but I don't know if it ever led anywhere. I mean, it clearly didn't, right? Because none of them killed Harold, and he clearly didn't kill any of them because they're still the Yonko of today.
Well, I do think anymore, well, one thing in regards to power scaling here, I think Harold is stronger than all of these guys at this point. At this point in the story, like
at this point, I agree. The Whitebeard, I would
Whitebeard might Whitebeard eventually I think surpasses him,
because I think Whitebeard gets stronger from this point.
I think so too,
and I think could compete with Harold. Definitely Kaido. I think Kaido's peak is actually what we see.
I think we see Kaido's peak for sure.
I think that's his peak.
Yeah.
I think Big Mom's peak is probably before that. I don't think we've ever seen her peak.
I don't know about that. I personally I think on Wano she did have her peak. But yeah, she is older or whatever for sure than Kaido. Kaido's is definitely like I think that Oda makes it a point to be like, all right, in your like 30s, 40s, early 50s, like that's your prime.
Yeah.
And then like you start getting older or whatever. But Big Mom really, I mean, she's just like a monster. I don't know. Like I never considered that she like got weaker or whatever. But
speaking of like when Oda considers peak, just to go off on a little side tangent, because I agree, he usually portrays like 40s, I would say, as like people's peak. So whatever we see from Luffy in the manga, he's gonna get stronger from here. Is the crazy part.
Oh,
right?
For sure, dude.
Because he's 19, sure. So it's only like halfway until his like peak, quote unquote.
Yeah, even though he said it, he was like, when I went Gear 5, he's like, "This is my peak."
This is my peak.
Yeah.
You can always peak higher.
Yeah. The bar got moved. Yeah, it's I think with Luffy, like what's gonna end up happening by the end of the story is like, yeah, obviously he's gonna get stronger and stronger and stronger until he beats Imu and Blackbeard and all that. And then there might be, because the story has to wrap up like sooner than when he's fucking 40. Right, like it's wrapping up right now.
I mean, it's gonna wrap up when he's gonna be the same age. There's not gonna be like another time skip. Yeah. Maybe like a one chapter at the end type of thing where there's like no.
But I will say, okay, so yeah, there could be like one chapter at the end where like, okay, we skip forward in time, like in Naruto or whatever, and like, okay, this is like Hokage Naruto, this is Hokage Luffy or whatever.
King of the Pirates, come
on. But I also think that like Oda makes it a point to be like, oh, the next generation's like even stronger like every time. So because like we're just talking about, like I think Whitebeard even surpassed Harold at least, and honestly probably Rocks when he's like in his prime, and so did Roger, you know what I mean, and Garp probably surpassed Rocks and Harold to be like monsters of their time. Maybe debatable, but like I don't think it's impossible to think that Luffy's gonna be stronger than like prime Roger and Rocks and all these people like by the time he's like 20 at the end of the story, you know what I mean? Because he is like the next generation of strong. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that too.
But, no, I agree. I think he's obviously just going to be strong. That's just how the story's written. It's a shonen. It's made for like teenage boys in Japan, so they're going to make the teenage boy the strongest thing. It is what it is.
That's true. Speaking of teenage boys, that's a bad one. That's a bad. But okay. No, okay. So in the next panel here, we see the Roger Pirates doing their thing, and Buggy's here. So I want to know. So they got Shanks as a kid. They totally skipped over how they got Buggy onto the crew. Totally skipped over.
Yeah, which I'm surprised about because, like, for some other things from this flashback that they skip over, you could be like, oh, they're gonna talk about it later, like how we talked about with the Blackbeard stuff. But we already got technically Buggy's like flashback. I don't think they're gonna give him like a second one. So
I don't know.
Part of me
Wait,
thinks we're really never gonna.
what flashback did we get Buggy? Oh, just like how he
Well, I
got
mean,
his
the
fruit
one
and
in
shit.
Orange Town, yeah, like at the very beginning, it was obviously a short, like
yeah, but we don't
half a
know
chapter.
when he. I think Buggy is important enough now. He's an emperor, bro. I think he's important enough now to where, especially after seeing like the Rocks and Buggy like comparisons and shit. I don't know if that's gonna be true or not, but I feel like if we see how Shanks gets on the crew, we gotta see how Buggy gets on the crew. At least how he gets on, right? We don't have to see his birth.
I
or whatever,
will say, I mean, I want to know the reason for why they picked up Buggy also, because Shanks was obvious, right? He's part Celestial Dragon. He was there like at God Valley,
he was
whatever.
An accident.
So yeah, well that too, but the reason for Buggy is, I mean, maybe he was like accidentally picked up also, but I wonder if he's like a Davy Clan member too, and like like he was like running from the world government, and then like the Roger Pirates saw that, and that's why they like brought him along so that they could save him.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think I think what I'm getting at is that I think there's definitely more Roger Pirate lore that we haven't seen, and I think that there's going to be either another flashback or something explaining that and other Roger Pirate escapades beyond this point. You know what I mean?
Maybe. I just don't know what else we could really get, but like I don't know what else Oda could fit in that would make it like a long enough flashback.
Okay, so there's a couple things that I want to see. Well, it doesn't have to be a long flashback. I mean, in Odin's flashback, like they're kind of a small part of the flashback. Like they are in the end of it, but they're only in like a few chapters. But they fit a lot into that, and like they're like, okay, this is like Roger lore. Like things that we don't know about Roger yet is like the egg, right? We still have no idea how they got that.
Yeah.
Yeah. we don't know exactly how they. I mean, we do see them get to Laugh Tale in the Odin flashback, but they're keeping that ambiguous. Obviously, I want to know why Dark King Rayleigh is like so fearsome. I don't think that him beating Sommers is like anywhere near enough for what I need.
No, but I mean, it's just like to me one of those things. Like, okay, if Roger's had a lot of battles, like Rayleigh is gonna be on his crew also battling other strong people too.
Yeah, okay.
Like
so
that to me,
I don't think
bad.
but the egg,
to, like,
but the egg.
I think the egg is
the egg and Buggy.
Like, what the hell is that egg?
I think it's the egg and Buggy for me. And then he also like stops wearing. Oh yeah, I guess I want. Oh, you know what? I want to see him give the straw hat to Shanks, because straw hat. I mean, Shanks.
Well, we saw him do that, didn't we?
No, because here in this panel, he already had the straw hat when they disbanded. Here in this flashback, like Shanks is wearing the straw hat already, and then this is like before they disbanded, before they found the One Piece or anything. So I want to see that moment, the passing of the straw hat to Shanks. I want to see Buggy stuff, and I want to see what's going on with this egg. And then I also want Rayleigh, and we'll get more into this later, but like I think we are gonna get feats right now for Scopper
Gabon and Shanks. Yeah, I saw some people saying, and I think it's true, that this is like going to be kind of close to Gabon's peak. So whatever we see here, I think is like a pretty good assessor of not just him but Rayleigh, because they're probably about even, right? So I mean, Rayleigh I think is going to be a little stronger.
But that's what I'm saying. I think we need to see that, unless because if we don't see that, people are gonna like be dogging on Rayleigh forever, and it's gonna be like the Gabon show.
Well, I mean, I think that's just like a thing Oda might do, like say, okay, they're kind of equal and never really show the power between them, because it's like fun feud to have.
But it can be shown, is what I'm saying. Like I think there is room for like more of a more Roger flashback shit in the future. Well,
yeah, I guess
going past that, we get into like all the. Well, I guess
the Gods Night stuff.
Yeah, the Gods Night stuff. Okay, so
yeah, we see Harold, like he has the crust thing, so we kind of assumed after we saw it on like Shanks's arm and all that stuff, like okay, this is like something placed on different people to like connect them to Emu,
Yeah.
and that's exactly what it was, right?
Yes.
And
But there's levels.
the one thing I thought was yes, that's what I was gonna say. I think that thing that was interesting is that there's levels of this. So there's 3 levels, and right now we technically only know about 2 of them, right? We know about this one that Harold gets at first, and that Shanks has that connects you to Emu, but also like he can really only control you if you're in like close proximity.
Yeah, so Shanks kind of explains this in the most recent chapter, and I think there was a lot of confusion I saw online like going into this because some people were like, "Oh, immortality is given even in this like first level," but that Shanks is straight up says like, "Oh, that's not true." You know what I mean? Like it's the full covenant of a knight blesses them with inhuman strength and immortality. So that's like
which I'm glad they said that, because that was like, as I was reading through it and they were starting to talk about this giving people the immortality, I was like, okay, well then how did Shanks lose his arm then? Because it should have regrown. But if there's levels to it, then it makes sense. It's like, okay, he was able to lose his arm. Same thing with the, okay, why was Shanks able to lose his arm if Emu can control him? But we can see with this first level, it's only in close proximity.
Right.
So since Emu wasn't there, he was able to like control himself and lose his arm.
Yeah. I think this gets into also this is the Rat Shank stuff. I mean, like not literally. It's like, okay, so
no, literally.
I think the Shanks we got a comment here. Shanks is the rat. Get it right.
He's the prime rat.
Prime rat, bro. Yeah, true that. Okay, so let's get into the Rat Shank stuff a little bit, because I think that some things are still unclear. We did get a lot of clarity in this most recent chapter about Shanks, but I think that there's still like more to uncover. So he explained. So as far as the timeline goes with Shanks, right? Like I think that he went back to the Holy Land, right? And got bestowed as a God's Knight, or I don't know what we're calling it this first level. I guess they're still
God's Knights.
Yeah. They're not like in the 13.
Yeah.
Because it's like the 13 of the Covenant or whatever, right? It's like there's only 13.
I don't know if all
get the regeneration.
Well, I was gonna say, I don't know if it's 13 exactly God's Knights that are like at that strongest level, or if it's just like all of them together. There was just 13. Some of them are level 1, 2, or 3.
Okay, yeah,
like
that's true.
I was kind of interpreting it like that, where it's like, okay, all of them might just be different levels.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's true. But okay, so anyway, so he goes to Mary Joie after Roger dies, to like, and this is probably like why he's crying and like why Buggy is like, oh, what the heck, like you're not gonna be a pirate anymore, blah blah blah. He's concocting this master plan to like infiltrate the Holy Land. So he goes there, and he's definitely like playing it up when we see him with Shamrock. So he meets Shamrock, right?
One of the things, real quick, I think was interesting. It didn't get shown in this first chapter where Shanks gets like put into the Holy Land, but we see it later when he talks to Harold again, and Harold's like, "Oh, I knew you were Red Hair Shanks of the Red Hair Pirates," which means he actually established his crew before going and getting this deal at the Holy Land, which I thought was really interesting. Because when I first read this, I thought, okay, he must have gotten his crew after he did this. But I guess like, so that means his crew's like really loyal, because they knew like all this was happening. They stayed with him. I wonder what they were doing during this time where he was like kind of like you said, he's playing it up. He's acting like, oh yeah, all these scum, like humans are horrible. I knew I didn't feel right in the bottom feeder world.
So, yeah, bro. But then he
played it up a little too well, and that's why he might be a rat.
Yeah, true. But he does show like, you know, we see the Fisher Tiger stuff again, which I think is so cool to like go back to this and like see it more in detail. That Fisher Tiger did get confronted. You know, he didn't have as easy of a time just like getting in there as other people, like Sabo, you know. But they had like a whole covert secret mission where there was like 4 of them with all these crazy devil fruit powers, and Fisher Tiger's just like a guy, right? Like he's just a fisherman, and he scales the red line and he gets into Mary Joie. Why isn't there a God's Knight, like, or somebody, or an admiral or something like there to stop him? And there was, but it was Shanks, and they let him go. And like he was like, hey, there's some slaves over there, like go free them. So that does show that, like, you know, Shanks is on their side at that point.
Yeah. A part of me is like thinking about it now though, since obviously Emu can control people in close proximity and kind of knows what's happening around them. If Shanks already had this mark when Fisher Tiger was up there, how did Emu not know? Like, okay, Shanks is like a rat, like a rat to him, more
Yeah.
likely. And like he's like, okay, wait, this guy let him go. Why should I still trust him? And
Yeah.
I wonder if even still to this day, because one of the other things people were saying that came out in, I think it was in the anime recently with Shamrock's voice, is he has a different voice actor than Shanks does,
Yeah.
which means that scene in Marie Joie where Shanks, or what we now thought was Shamrock, was talking to the gods and
It
said,
really
"Hey,
is
this guy's a
Shanks.
problem." It actually is Shanks.
Yeah.
So I wonder if Shanks still kind of has this connections to like the world government and to Emu and all of that stuff. And it would make sense on then Marineford also when he shows up and he's like, "Stop this," and they're like, "Okay, because it's you,
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop." So like, I think he still has some relation
Yeah,
to
yeah.
like
So,
Maurice on the Gods
well,
Knights, and he's not.
that's where the rat allegations come back, right? It's because, like, if Emu believes, like, hey, maybe Shanks is just, playing it up on the pirate side, and he's gonna come back to us, and I know because I have his contract. Maybe I don't even know if Emu knows if he still has a contract or not, but I would imagine he does because, like, if Shanks came back to the Gorosei there, then he already didn't have his arm and he already didn't have the mark, right? So it's like at that
Yeah,
point, Emu's around, and
it's like, hey,
would
just put another one on.
or he would know
Like,
like, oh, Shanks is like being a rat, and so maybe that's like this whole, both of them think something that it's not. But Shanks literally says like, oh, he can feel when I'm around. So it's like I don't know what the deal is. And then there's the whole Marineford thing too. It's like, why did they even stop
yeah,
at the Shanks thing? Is it just because none of them knew? And the admirals are just like not privy to like what really is going on, or what? Because you would think that at least like Sengoku kind of knows. Like we see Akainu interacting
I
with the Goroseis a
don't
lot.
think so as much. I don't necessarily think they know about the pacts that they have with Emu. Like, I don't think Sengoku knows about Emu. I don't think Akainu knows about Emu. I think they're kind of just like doing what they're told, sort of.
Okay.
But I don't think the admirals are as knowledgeable as like people might give them credit
Yeah,
for.
yeah. Well,
I think if that was the case, why would Aokiji stay as long as he did? I feel like he would have left earlier.
yeah. Well, I don't think the admirals do, but the fleet admiral maybe is what I'm saying. It's because like now that Akainu, like we see Akainu now as fleet admiral, like interact with the Gorosei more. So I don't know how much information they give or whatever, and how much they actually know about the Gods Knights. But it's like, the Gods Knights aren't necessarily a secret. Like Dragon knows. Why wouldn't Akainu know?
Well, okay, but Dragon knew because of God Valley, right?
Not really. I
Like,
mean, I guess, but I think that there's. I would imagine that
well,
more
okay, and
people know
I
about the
think it's
Gods
not.
Knights. Like,
I think he knows about the God's Knights. I don't think he knows about the pacts they have with Emu. I don't think he
yeah,
knows
the
about Emu.
intricacies or
I think
whatever.
that's the
Yeah. Okay,
difference.
that's fair.
Like,
Yeah.
even if you see like the symbol, it could just be like, oh, it's just like a tattoo that
Yeah,
you get when you join the God's Knights. Like, I don't think, yeah, they know like all the details about it.
that's true. Another thing is that, so going further down the Shanks rabbit hole, I guess.
Rabbit hole.
The the we see him at the end of this most recent chapter. Him and Gabon square up against Harold. Like they come in at the last second, and they kind of like know what's going on. So like, I'm under the impression that in the next few chapters, there is going to be like Loki, Gabon, and Shanks versus not Damiurversi, but like Possessed.
Oh, how are you gonna forget about Jarul?
And Jarul.
He was here too.
Sorry, he just got stabbed in the head, my guy. Bro, okay. Side note: how the
No,
fuck
but
did
he was protected by.
that?
He was protected by his helmet. What are you talking about?
All right, you're right.
He said it in the chapter. Come on.
Oh my god, I was wearing my helmet when I had a whole ass sword impaled into my head.
I like that was like my favorite joke from this new chapter. But anyways, yeah, we're gonna get them all fighting.
Okay.
So the fact that Harold can go against all of them, but he said, "Hey, once you get this devil fruit, Loki, then you can deal with me. I'm still so curious. We're like right there to getting what that devil fruit is.
I know, it's so close. I think, okay, so real quick, just to like wrap up what I was saying, is like after this, I would imagine that Emu isn't there. There's got to be levels to like what Emu knows through the people he possesses, right? Because if he sees Shanks attacking Harold, somebody that he's telling Harold like kill these guys, take over Elbaf, whatever, and if he sees Shanks, who he thinks is on his side, attack Harold, it's like, what the hell, what's happening? But later on, Loki takes the fall for all of this, and then Shanks takes Loki out, or like allegedly, right?
Yeah. I don't know if that's what's gonna happen anymore. If Shanks is gonna take Loki out, or if he's gonna make it seem
right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Is like it might be like he seems like he takes it out, and then like maybe that's Shanks proving to Emu like, hey, I took this guy out. Like, you're welcome, and that's why they're now like, okay, we're chill. And like that devil fruit is just like so important that Shanks just is in good standing with Emu now. Not to mention Shanks steals the other super important devil fruit later. But like, you know, like I think that goes into a conversation of like what Emu knows, because Harold here is clearly like fighting Emu coming in and possessing him, right? Like he's kind of like fighting it off mentally. And so it's like, can Emu just kind of like, this is like an essence of a feeling of what's going on? Does he really know that Shanks is like there or whatever? You know, it's hard. I mean, it's hard to say.
One of two things. So like, Harold maybe is being controlled by Emu, and maybe Emu does know everything that's happening around him, and he knows Shanks is betraying him, and he's trying to use that to his advantage. Like, I don't know how much like Shanks necessarily knows about how these marks work, and how much Harold's being controlled, and how much Emu sees. So maybe Shanks thinks he's getting away with more than he actually is, and Emu's actually like super big brain is like, okay, keep your enemies closer to you, maybe, because then you can control them even easier.
I think that Shanks does know a good bit, though. I mean, like Shanks definitely like was the
I think he knows a good bit, but I don't know if he knows everything, though. That's what I'm saying. Even if he knows a lot, imagine like if Emu just is like one step further than that. And then the other thing I was gonna say is kind of going back on the Shanks fighting Loki thing. Like, now that I'm looking at it again, like, we technically don't know if Shanks is like, he doesn't know that Harold wants to be killed here. He wasn't here when Harold said that. So what if Loki just comes back with the with Mjolnir and with the devil fruit and just like attacks like Harold and kills him? And then that's when Shanks is like, bro, what the fuck? And then that's when he chains up Loki. But we know Loki isn't gonna tell people that, like, oh, Harold told me to kill him. Loki's actually gonna do like the noble thing.
But Harold's going crazy. Like, I think that, okay, so the thing is also, though, the context of this flashback is that both Gabon and Loki are telling Luffy and Hajira these things. So I think if Gabon is there, his interpretation of the thing is like, we got to stop Harold at all costs, and we see him killing all these people. We saw him attack Jarul, and so, I don't know if that's all true. Like, I think that Shanks, if anything, to me, it's still like a plot between Shanks and Loki.
Yeah,
I think it's more likely that. Like,
probably, but I'm just trying to think of like just different things that could happen. And I mean, clearly, like what I was saying is like Loki's definitely gonna like take the fall for all of this.
Yeah.
Because even though Harold's like, besmirch my name, I did poor, I just want people to be safe. Loki knows it's like, okay, once like the evil was actually stopped now, like, do we actually have to like run his name through the ground also? Because he does love Harold too. Like, Harold and Ito were like the only people that ever did anything good for Loki. Right. So he doesn't want him to like seem like an evil person either.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
But,
what? So I want to talk a little bit about I mean, so okay, we see Loki open the. You mentioned it before, but we see Loki.
We go to get the devil fruit.
We see the what was it called? Isn't it like
Mjolnir? Well, that's
what it's called. Yeah.
I mean, that's Thor's hammer. I'm pretty sure this is called the same thing.
Yeah. This is the hammer that we see him pick up when he gets released by Luffy, right?
Yeah. Which, like, now it kind of makes sense where you can see it clearly has some type of magical power, right? It's like flying at him. It's like probably that whole like, oh, worthy thing or whatever. It always goes to you. Like, I don't remember when he was chained up if we saw the hammer near him, but all of a sudden when he was standing up, it was there.
Yeah.
So maybe it just like came to him afterwards.
It could be.
Also,
So we've seen preface for like sentient objects, right, in One Piece with like like our objects eating devil fruits or whatever. So I wonder if this hammer, like the explanation for this in world, is like that it has a devil fruit. A big theory is Fenrir, which in Norse mythology is like the big wolf thing, that starts Ragnarok once it's released. And one thing that we see before the flashback, like when Nami and Zoro and Luffy like are first looking at the castle and seeing all the damage and everything, we see these big ass claw marks on the walls, and so maybe that's part of what happens is that like we see this thing turn, like, you know, trust Loki and then turn into that wolf thing.
Well, I was gonna say that could even be what the devil fruit itself is.
It could be, yeah.
Like maybe that's the super powerful devil fruit Loki or Harold was telling Loki to get. It is like the Fenrir devil fruit.
Right. Yeah, it could be. I still really like the idea because like it still has to be an insanely powerful devil fruit, right? It's like a legendary fruit. Emu wants it. Rox wanted it for, you know, he was like, oh, if you have this devil fruit, like with Elbaf, like we can conquer the world, whatever. So is Fenrir alone like powerful enough? Maybe, like we have no idea, but I do like the idea of like shape shifting in general. I think that's a cool thing for Loki to maybe have, with like the whole liar trope.
Yeah,
because he can like you know, use the
I think he
to deceive.
like in lore he is like a shapeshifter also.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but like otherwise, if this thing didn't have a devil fruit, like what would be the in universe like thing to explain that it's like attacking him right now?
I mean, magic just kind of exists. Like we saw, like what was it, Miss Gold something?
Miss Golden Week.
In like Miss Golden Week, she kind of just used magic on Luffy and like painted colors, and it worked.
That's true.
Like I don't know, random magic is not the most crazy thing. It could also just be maybe this hammer's imbued with somebody's hockey.
Yeah.
And like that hockey is like reacting to something.
That's true. Yeah, that could be it too. I think that might be more likely because I think like Oda is good at explaining that kind of stuff. I think that a lot of that, like Miss Golden Week and like what's his name, Django, the hypnosis guy, like that was stuff in the early like pre-time skip that there wasn't stuff explained, and then like Oda like retconned a bunch of it, like how in Skypiea they had like mantra or whatever, and that was just like observation hockey later. But
so it's probably something related to hockey because it always is.
I think so. It's either hockey or devil fruit. I think it's got to be.
Yeah.
So we'll see, though. I mean, there's a lot of potential for Loki. I think there's a lot more of this flashback to go of like
well, I don't know about a lot more.
I mean, we need to see the climax of this battle first of all.
Yeah, but after this battle, this is kind of where it ends.
Also, you know what I wanted to say? We see, okay, so Jarul gets stabbed in the head, and then he goes down or whatever, and then when Shanks and Gaban show up, he goes, Gaban, is that you? Is he still like sentient or not sentient, but like remembers things at that point? Yeah. Like how is that gonna work with like Jarul?
I don't know. That's one of the things I thought, if they're gonna go down the amnesia angle again, or if this is like he's just kind of in cahoots with them. Like, okay,
yeah.
I think he's gonna be in on it personally. I don't think Oda's gonna go down the amnesia angle a third time with Sabo, Big Mom, and now this again. Like, I think people would be mad about that.
Is the transponder snail that Loki was talking to?
I used to actually. I thought it was for a while
and everything.
That's what I said. So that was my reasoning. I thought Jarul made sense. He's probably in cahoots with Loki. That was my theory from like way back then, and I think it's still very likely. One of the things though is, so the snail was called Mosa, which is Shaggy, and then again in like a few chapters ago, Harold called King Neptune's daughter Shaggy.
I've heard this theory. Actually, so like this theory
that's the other one that I think it could be. Is it could be Poseidon? And I remember a few people saying that. Or yeah. I remember a few people saying that also, like when it first happened, because like like Roger called like Shirahoshi Shaggy also.
Right.
So I think that's possible, but the beard thing just still makes me think it's Jarul,
Mm-hmm.
and he could also be considered Shaggy, right? Like with this kind of beard and
Yeah.
stuff. So I still think it's Jarul, but I think it's an interesting theory for it to be Shirahoshi, and I wonder how that would come into play. And if it is Shirahoshi, like why are they talking to each other
It's
so
really
much?
weird.
I mean,
That would be weird too, because like Shirahoshi was such like a recluse. I mean, I don't know. I don't know timing wise. Also, like how young she would be at that time. You know what I mean?
I mean, she's 16 in the current story.
How long ago
When
is
Loki
this?
got locked up. Uh, I don't know. I think it's like 20 years ago or something.
That'd
But
be
Loki
before her
got locked
birth.
up 6 years ago, so she would have been like 10 or something when
Yeah.
Loki got
Loki would
locked
be
up.
talking to a 10-year-old, bro.
I mean, they could just be friends, bro. Like he never tried to do anything.
um,
but yeah, I think that's an interesting thing. I still think it's Jarul though. At the end of the day, like
yeah,
I
think it could be like just what we think it is. You know what I mean? Like I think like a lot of times in One Piece, it's just like exactly what you thought it was at the beginning.
Yeah. One last thing I wanted to talk about also is kind of the regeneration.
Yes.
Because this is kind of like the whole point of this flashback, right? Is we don't know how to deal with the regeneration, and that's how it all started. Gabon's like, I got something to tell you, buddy. And then Loki's like, I do too. And then we're gonna figure out how the regeneration is beat. And I'm still curious what that is, because I know we found out before from the Dami Reversity, it's like really big hockey, basically, right?
Yeah,
use a critical mass of hockey.
Critical mass
to do it. And I mean, maybe that's the case here also, but I want to see how they do it against Harold.
They got because we got to see it. We have to see it. I think that it's gonna be weird.
I think it has to be like clearly explained.
Yeah, because also Gabon, like I think before we were like, oh, maybe Gabon saw on God Valley like how Roger dealt with it or whatever, but that's clearly not the case. Like that didn't happen. So like this is gonna be, and we were talking about this before, how like Gabon's gonna get a big fight over Rayleigh right now. And until I see otherwise, I'm gonna put Gabon over Rayleigh.
That's crazy talk.
Well, you literally said, bro, you said it before. You were like, oh, you know, maybe it's one of those things where Oda just puts Gabon over Rayleigh, and then now it's Zoro over Sanji, and it's like, whatever. I mean,
I know. Okay, you put words in my mouth.
Well,
I never said
he's muddying it. You said he's muddying it.
I said that he's gonna always portray them as like equals.
Okay, whatever. Anyway, so but it'll be a separate time, right? So this I think is how Gabon knows about how to deal with it, and Shanks too, I guess, but you know, and Loki. So this is kind of what they're getting at. This feels like the climax of it, because like they sit Luffy down to tell them, okay, this is how we're gonna beat Emu, right? Like that's the whole preface to it, is that Emu's like wreaking havoc up there, and like they have to tell they have to tell him like, hey, like you got to use a critical mass of hockey or whatever, and they're gonna figure it out during this fight. So I want to see that. I don't know how much further they're gonna get into Loki's backstory, or if they're gonna like hold that off with like the whole like Shanks capturing him thing, but I definitely want to see it. Like we got to see. This is gonna be like a big scaling thing. Like what do we got? Like 10, 11 more days until the new year, so it's like.
I mean, we're definitely having this go into the next year. Like I don't think we're finishing it this year. One of the other things also with Loki is when he got out of the change, the first thing he did was smack the tree that he was chained to.
Yeah.
So like why? Like if we're all thinking like, okay, Loki's actually not like a bad guy, right? Like he actually does want to protect Elbaf and stuff. What was the point of kind of like causing that lightning strike and starting that fire? And kind of like what does he know, and like what's happening because of that? Like did he somehow like know like the God's Knights were there and he was trying to fuck with them like instantly from well, okay, sorry, that's a bad example. He obviously knew the God's Knights were there because they attacked him.
Yeah.
But is that like, what do you like, was he trying to like hurt them with that? Like I want to know.
Well, it could be like a double thing, right? Like it could be that, and it could also just be like he's trying to show Hadruden and gang like, oh, I'm still trying to keep up this facade of like King Harold good, me bad. Like I'm trying to protect the name of Elbaf, and like what, because like Harold literally says to him here, like tell everybody that I did horrible and like my legacy's ruined, I fucked up, and Loki, you be like the hero of Elbaf, right? And then Loki's like, clearly we see him at the end of it, you know, now present time, he's like, no, like he didn't do that. He took the fall for everything instead.
And people still like regard heroes like, oh, the great king, like,
yeah.
Best king
so that
ever,
could have just been him like trying to prove that again, being like, I shouldn't release me, man, you know, like. But I do think it could be also what you're saying, and it's like a kind of a double thing where he also has like a second motive of like, maybe if I smack this, like something, but we don't see like a ramification of that really, like that happens and there's still like more to go after that of like Emu taking over. But maybe when we cut back, we'll see like whatever he created, like he'll be like, hey, remember when I smacked the tree and that fire came up, like this is a way to teleport up there or whatever.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I'm very excited for what we're gonna get next chapter.
It's a lot. This has been like a really good stretch. I think this is like a good like, you know, stretch of chapters for us to talk about here, because I don't know, it's just like it furthered the story in like every way, and I kind of like doing this more where we have like a longer conversation about everything that happened, because we it's not segmented, right? We don't have to theorize about like, oh, or the Covenant is the, you know, the mark giving them all immortality or whatever. Like we just like know a bunch of things, like given that we see a bunch of chapters.
Yeah,
like
there's still some theories, but it's like some things like it's not like chapter to chapter theories. It's more like bigger picture stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which I think is cool.
Which I guess, like you said, like if you guys like that, let us know. Let us know if this is like working out better. This longer form content, maybe it's better. It's more to put on in the background type thing.
Yeah.
Or maybe you want it more segmented. So we're taking feedback.
Just let us know in the comments. And on that note, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.
Catch you in the next one. Peace.